Welcome back to Netsnet Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Kelty. Today we are here with an NBA episode. It's been a minute since we've done this. It's a big thing. The new league has started at 5 o'clock last night is when the new league opened. Free agency has started. We've already done the draft. We'll probably come out with a draft recap a little bit later because I know we want to talk about it, but also I'm going to talk about it a little bit here. But today, let's get it started with some big news. We saw last night James Harden re-signed with the LA Clippers. He signed a 2-year, $70 million contract to stay with Los Angeles. They retained him. They signed Kawhi Leonard last offseason, and it was a big play to get him and try to get Paul George back. But we kind of saw them go with James Harden. Paul George out the window. It showed that they were committed to getting that deal done before getting a deal done with Paul George, and they knew Paul George was meeting with a number of teams. Like I know the Warriors tried to make a play for him, but he was going to meet with the Mavericks, the Warriors, the 76ers, the Lakers, just to name a few teams that he wanted to meet with. He ended up signing a deal last night with the 76ers. He signed a 4-year, $212 million max with the 76ers, as well as the 76ers going out and re-signing Tyrese Maxey for 5 years, $204 million max, and bringing back Kelly Oubre, who in his first season averaged 15 points and led the team in steals. Both deals do include a player option for Kelly Oubre and Paul George. But we talk about Paul George. What he brings to this 76ers team. It's now a big three of Maxey, Paul, and Joel Embiid. Now, can you surround them with talent? Can you start shooting and role players that can help bring a championship to the 76ers? We all know Joel Embiid is probably one of the best players in the NBA when healthy. We haven't seen Joel Embiid healthy. We haven't seen the 76ers make it to a finals in a very long time. We haven't. I think the farthest they've gone is a conference finals, and that was against Toronto, and everybody remembers what happened on that last shot from Kawhi against Joel and them boys. But this is a big step. You lose a Tobias Harris, so you end up bringing back Kelly Oubre, re-signing Maxey, who was an all-star. He averaged 25 points, 6 assists, and 3.7 rebounds a game. He is coming into his own. He is being a star. And now you get him with Paul George, another sharpshooter and really good 3-and-D player who is very good on the defensive side. Get him with Joel Embiid. Now you bring – I think they haven't had this since probably a Jimmy Butler from a few years back. Yes, you lose a Tobias Harris, your stretch 4. But Kelly Oubre can come in and slide right into that position. Now going to the Clippers side, I don't know what the Clippers bring back Harden. They re-sign Russell Westbrook. Now there's reports that they are going to look to trade Russell Westbrook and get off that contract. And we forget about a few years ago when they made that trade for Paul George, they gave up a haul for him, 5 or 6 first-round picks. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and look what Shea's doing, top 3 in MVP voting, and Danilo Gallinari. They gave us so much of their future for Paul George, and then they don't even re-sign him. That just I don't know what the Clippers have done since Steve Ballmer took over, but they are in a loss for words. They are trying to compete with the Lakers. They're getting a new stadium, but they don't bring their marquee player in, who pretty much was the domino effect of this whole entire free agency. Now, moving on with that domino effect, we look at what happened with Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, it's an end of an era. We talk about this in sports all the time. We go from an end of an era with Tom Brady retiring, with Lionel Messi leaving Barcelona, or Cristiano Ronaldo leaving Real Madrid, Toni Kroos retiring. We talk about all of these end of an era things, like when Derek Jeter retired, Mariano Rivera retired. Now you see Klay Thompson leave the Golden State Warriors, who drafted Klay Thompson, and now he got in a sign and trade for $50 million for 3 years to go play for the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks just upgraded shooting. I think that's what they need, a third option with Kyrie and Luka Doncic. Drive and kick to Klay Thompson on that three-point line. I think he needed this change of scenery, because we talked about last year. They couldn't come to an agreement last year. And I think that really kind of soured him. And then to make it on top, they bench him halfway through the season and have him come off the bench. And he's not happy. Klay Thompson is one of the greatest shooters of all time. One of the best players in NBA history. And let's talk about it exactly. 4-time NBA champion, 5-time NBA All-Star, 2-time NBA third team. He led the NBA in 3-point field goal leader. He scored the most points in a quarter. He scored the most 3-pointers in a game. He has the most 3-pointers. He's tied with the most 3-pointers in a single postseason with Stephen Curry. He is one of the best 3-point shooters of all time, behind Reggie Miller, Steph Curry, and Ray Allen. The Warriors kind of did him dirty, let's be real. They should have. I would have brought him back no matter what. He is a legend. He's only played for the Golden State Warriors. But you talk about this is his last big paycheck. We all knew this was coming. It was either going to be from the Warriors or someone else. And he goes to the Mavericks. And you think about the starting five of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Derek Lively, and Daniel Gafford. That's going to be an insane lineup to go against. Dallas is going to make another push for that finals, just like this year. Yes, they were close-ish. They lost in 5 to the Celtics, who I'll talk about in a little bit. But that is a big thing from the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors go out and now have to pivot to sign someone or trade for someone. They were in the sweepstakes. They were looking at Valanciunas. They didn't end up getting Valanciunas. He ends up signing with the Wizards, leaving the Pelicans, which I think that was a bad move on the Pelicans. Yes, the Pelicans did draft Yesi Misi, but he really has only really started playing basketball when he came to the States from Cameroon. In high school, he's one of those traditional big men that plays down low on the block, doesn't shoot the three, can't space the floor, and you lose a Valanciunas. Going to the Wizards, which didn't really make a whole lot of sense because of the whole Wizards and purgatory. Like, what are they doing? They traded Denny Avdija for Malcolm Brogdon, which Denny Avdija started playing well towards the end of the season, which thinking they were going to keep him, but I guess not. But like I said, Valanciunas leaves the Pelicans, and then the Pelicans make big moves and with a trade. They trade after the draft. They trade They trade for DeJounte Murray from the Hawks for 2 second-round picks, Larry Nance, EJ Liddell, and Dyson Daniels. The Hawks decide to keep Trae Young instead of trading him and trading away DeJounte Murray instead, because that was really the whole thing. Do they keep DeJounte Murray and trade Trae, or do they trade DeJounte and keep Trae, or keep them both together and try to run it back? They ended up picking Trae over DeJounte. DeJounte gets shipped out to New Orleans. Now, Casey's definitely going to want to talk about this, and I definitely would love to hear what he thinks about this, especially what's going to happen with CJ McCollum and DeJounte Murray. Are they going to play together? Are they going to trade CJ McCollum? Is Brandon Ingram still going to be on the trade block? Could he be gone soon? I know the Warriors are interested. I know the 76ers were interested at the time before getting Paul George, and the Cavs are interested. What would the Cavs give up? What would the Warriors give up to get Brandon Ingram if he is still available? I think the Pelicans made a great move in getting DeJounte Murray. I think he's more athletic. He's better defensively than Dyson Daniels, because we saw flashes of Dyson, but not a whole lot. DeJounte's way better than Dyson because he's younger, because he's older, he's experienced, and he's an all-star. Dyson got injured this first season, second season, we saw up and down. But I think the Pelicans are in win now. They have a roster that is win now. The likes of Trey Murphy, Zion, CJ McCollum, just to name a few. And then speaking of the Warriors, because they got rid of Klay Thompson, they also waived Chris Paul. Because he was guaranteed $30 million, they moved it back, and then they cut him, and now he signs a 1-year deal, $11 million with the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs were looking for that point guard to pair up with Victor Wembanyama, and they get a legendary point guard, future Hall of Famer, Chris Paul. He is a great player. Not the production, you're not going to see a lot of the production that you used to see out of him, but you get him with a big guy. You can do a lot of those pick and pops, a lot of those pick and rolls that we used to see back in the day with DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, and Dwight Howard of the worlds that he played with. I think that's a great pickup. We thought they were going to draft one in the draft, I thought they were going to get like a Rob Dillingham, but ended up going out and getting, I believe they went out and got, I think who they got. The Spurs went out and got, one second, to pair up with Victor Wembanyama in this draft. They went out and got the likes of Stephon Castle. They got, they still have Trey Jones on the roster. But yeah, they go out and get a Chris Paul who can come right in and fill in that role of a pick and pop player. It'll be interesting to see what they do going forward with that situation. Who they get, if Stephon Castle is going to be the point guard of the future, is he going to play shooting guard? What that means for Devin Vassell, but we'll decide that in a little bit. Another big move that happened was Mikal Bridges going to New York in a trade for Bojan Bogdanovic and 6 first-round draft picks to the Nets for Mikal Bridges. The Villanova Knicks is now a thing. You got Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges. All they need is Ryan Diacono, and they got a starting 5 of Villanova Wildcats, and then bring in maybe Omari Spellman and Eric Pascal. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. But we look at it, and they also bring back OG Anunoby for 5 years, $212.5 to run it back. The Knicks are going to be scary. We talk about Julius Randle coming back healthy. We're talking about Mitch Robb coming back healthy. They weren't healthy for the playoffs, and we saw Josh Hart playing a lot of minutes. It'll be interesting to see who gets benched and who starts. I think going projectively, it's going to be Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, and Mitch Robb. I think that's the starting 5. Maybe Julius Randle to the 5. He's big, he's strong, he can rebound, and then bringing in Josh Hart to play that 4 like we saw this season. That could be interesting. The Knicks are definitely going to be pushing the Celtics. Another thing is we've seen is Bam Adebayo taking in a 3-year, $165 million extension to stay with the Miami Heat. It'll be interesting to see what happens around Jimmy Butler. I think that's really the main thing that the Heat are still in play, because if they have Jimmy, they can do something. We saw Pascal Siakam re-sign with the Indiana Pacers, 4 years, $186 million extension. So they keep that core group together. That Pacers team went on a run. I don't think anyone saw them getting to the conference finals. You saw Tyrese Halliburton explode. You saw Pascal fit right in next to Miles Turner. And then a lot of role players. Obi Toppin re-signs with the Pacers as well. He signed back with them, so he signed a 4-year, $60 million extension. And then another thing that we saw today, Derek White and Jason Tatum signed their contracts. Derek White signs a 4-year, $125.9 million with a player option, and then Tatum signs the player max with a player option for $314 million in over 5 years, with also a trade kicker. You keep the core together. We all knew that they were going to get paid. They needed to pay them because, look, you just won your 18th NBA title with Tatum, Brown, White, Al Horford, Porzingis. That team is unstoppable. They're the best team in the East. And I said at the beginning of the season, the Celtics could win the NBA Finals. I probably had them winning the Finals at the beginning of the season. I definitely think we'll then do a recap of our predictions for the in-season playoff tournament and for our predictions going into the standings. But yeah, the Celtics are the team to beat. To mention also some other big news around the world: my Chicago Bulls signed Patrick Williams to a 5-year, $90 million contract, and also signed Jalen Smith, who was a role player on that Pacers team. That he put in 9.9 points and 5.5 rebounds, and also shot 42% from the three. He can come in and be a role player, play that 4, play that 5. Something that Drummond didn't give us is a 3-point shot. He can come in and do that. He's 6'11", he's big, he's strong. I think he fits right in on 3 years, 27 mil. That's a pretty good contract for a role player like him. And then, like I said, they brought in Patrick Williams. 90 million's a lot, I think, for Patrick. What he's done since being in the NBA, he really surprised me that they offered him that much money. I like Patrick Williams, but I didn't think he was worth how high of the 4th pick. I was not too happy with that pick, to be honest. In 4 seasons, he's only played 82 games once. He played 71 his first season. He played 17 the second season, and then he got injured. Third season, he played all 82 games, and then last year he barely played. He only played 43 games. He really hasn't shown much of value for being a 4th pick, but we also have to think about this. When he came out of college, he was a 3-and-D guy. He was a freshman. He came off the bench. He spent most of the time as a 6-man, winning the 6-man year award in college. So that Florida State team was very good, but he didn't start was the thing. So was he worth that high pick? I don't know. I don't think so. Right now, it's not really showing, but there's a lot more ongoing with the Bulls. They did trade for Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso, which I actually like. We need a ball player that can facilitate like Josh Giddey can. I know he comes with a lot of baggage with what happened in the investigation and early on this season, but he still is a playmaker. Yes, he had a down year, but we forget the year before he was averaging 17 a game, averaging about like 8 assists, 8.8 rebounds, or some close to that. If we can get that player, and because we don't know the situation with Lonzo, if he's going to be back, I think we've always needed that facilitator. Take Kobe White off the ball. He's better off ball. Same with Ayo Dosunmu. They're both better off ball. We bring him in, and then we figure out what we're going to do with DeRozan because he is still a free agent. He says he would like to come back. Can we possibly get him? Or are we going to just say, screw it and go rebuild? Are we going to, because I know we're trying to trade Levine. There's a chance we trade Vucevic. The Bulls right now, honestly, I want to win now, but who doesn't want to win now? Every fan wants their team to be in a win now mode, but I think right now we need to go rebuild. We have to. We need a proper rebuild. We saw a lot of teams do rebuilds and it worked out in the long run. Great example is the 76ers. Trust the process. They went through a big rebuild at the end of the 2010s. 2011, I think 2012 was the last time. They were great, and then they were really bad for a while, and then they got good. They trust the process. They built through the draft. They rebuilt the team right. Same with the Celtics. We saw after the Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce era, they went through a rebuild, got picks, got Brunson, got Tatum in the draft. I think that's what the Bulls need to do. We've kind of been unlucky with our draft picks of late, but I like the Montez Buzuelis. He's a Chicago-born, bred kid. The last time we drafted a Chicago kid, Derrick Rose, MVP. I'm not saying he's going to be MVP-like or anything, but we usually can hit home on homegrown talent. I want the Bulls to go through a proper rebuild. I don't like this win now. I know we brought in the former GM from the Nuggets who started that whole rebuild with them, getting those players, getting those picks, drafting Nikola Jokic, drafting Jamal Murray. Can we do that with Chicago? There's a chance. But yeah, so free agency has kicked off today or yesterday, and there's been so many moves. I just kind of hit the big news of everything from the Klay Thompson going to the Mavericks, Paul George going to 76ers, Maxey and Bam returning to their respective teams. And throughout the year, there's going to be so many, or throughout the summer, there's going to be so many moves that we're going to hit on. I know Casey definitely wants to be a part of the next one, which hopefully he can join for the next one, and I can get his takes, especially on his Pelicans. And we can just chop shop and talk some basketball. I know we haven't done one in a hot minute, but we're definitely looking to get back on track with those. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was kind of quick. I did get through a lot. I had to get both of these done before the USA game versus Uruguay. That's a big game to watch. But yeah, if you guys enjoy this episode, definitely take a look on YouTube and watch this. Listen to it on Spotify. Definitely look out for our Copa America Euros reviewing for the group stage on our channel as well, on our Spotify and on our YouTube. That will be out today. This episode will also be out today, so once I'm done, I'll upload it and you all get to see it today. Well, it's great. Listen, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify, and I'll see you guys in the next time. Peace.